change proposed for Social Security COLA, and what higher inflation means for Medicare and Social Security beneficiaries. Social Security beneficiaries probably will receive the highest benefit increase in years when the 2022 COLA is announced later this year. Social Security, as you know, gives beneficiaries an annual cost of living adjustment, or COLA. The COLA is based on the 12-month change in the Consumer Price Index, CPI, through September. The Social Security Administration will calculate the COLA in early October. Private analysts are estimating that, based on the data so far this year and what they anticipate through September, the Social Security COLA for 2022 could be 5.8% or higher. Some are forecasting a COLA above 6%. If the COLA is anywhere in that range, it will be the highest since 1983. Of course, if inflation cools off as rapidly as the Federal Reserve expects, the increase would be lower. But some say the increase isn't high enough and the Social Security COLAs have been too low for years. The Social Security COLA is determined by the 12-month increase in the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, also known as CPIW, as of the end of the third quarter. This is the main CPI measure that's widely reported in the media. But it computes inflation on a hypothetical monthly shopping basket of goods and services for a family with children. In other words, it doesn't represent the mix of goods and services purchased by most retirees. For example, the CPIW overweights education expenses and underweights medical expenses compared to what a retiree is likely to spend. There are a number of CPI measures issued by the Department of Labor. Some analysts believe the Social Security COLA should be based on the CPI-E, also known as the CPI for the elderly. From 1982 to 2011, the CPI-E increased 3.1% annually, while CPIW increased 2.9% annually. The COLA is set by law, so it would take Congress to make a change. Representative John Garamendi, DCA, introduced a bill that would make the change, but it isn't scheduled yet for action in Congress. Whatever the COLA turns out to be, it could be absorbed by higher Medicare Part B premiums. Many people don't realize that the 2021 Medicare premium increases were artificially and temporarily restrained by one of the COVID-19 relief bills enacted in 2020. From 2020 to 2021, the base Medicare Part B premium increased only 3.90 to $148.50 per month. Without the cap imposed by Congress, the base premium would have been $160.20. Remember that Medicare Part B premiums are calculated to be 25% of Medicare's estimated per capita spending for the year. The other 75% is paid by general tax revenues. The Social Security COLA will be announced by mid-October. The Part B premiums will be announced in November. In other news, House approves $3.5 trillion budget plan in key step for Democrats to pass legislation expanding social safety net. The House of Representatives on Tuesday approved a budget framework that will pave the way for Democrats to spend up to $3.5 trillion on a sweeping economic package to expand the social safety net that President Joe Biden has made a signature agenda item. The House vote came after painstaking negotiations between Democratic leaders and a group of moderates yielded a compromise that paved the way for passage. But deadlock over the issue led to a standoff that derailed efforts to move forward Monday evening. The issue underscored the challenge leadership faces in attempting to unite the party's moderate and progressive wing. Ultimately, the House voted on a rule to advance both the budget deal and a separate $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill. Due to a procedural maneuver, passage of the rule also approved the budget resolution, bypassing a separate vote. In a concession to moderates, the rule also directs the House to take up the bipartisan bill by September 27. The Senate approved the budget resolution earlier this month. Budget resolutions do not become law and are not signed by the president. but the framework will act as an important policy blueprint. Both chambers must adopt the resolution for Democrats to use a process known as budget reconciliation to later pass legislation addressing the climate crisis, aid for families, health care, and more that cannot be defeated by a GOP filibuster in the Senate. The budget resolution includes a set of instructions for House and Senate committees that will allow them to write reconciliation legislation with a total price tag of as much as $3.5 trillion. The final reconciliation package, once it is drafted, is expected to be considered in the fall. With regard to the $3.5 trillion top-line number for this package, the president has been clear. This is the number that will honor his vision to build back better, Speaker Nancy Pelosi wrote in a letter to House Democrats over the weekend. This is the number that has been agreed to in the Senate and is now before us in the House. Accordingly, we will write a reconciliation bill with the Senate that is consistent with that top line. Divisions among Democrats have been prominent as the party has pushed ahead with the effort. In the House, moderates pushed to first vote on a separate $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill prior to voting on the budget resolution, while progressives took a stand counter to that by saying they would not support the bipartisan plan on its own without the larger reconciliation package. The deadlock forced House leadership into negotiations late into the evening on Monday, attempting to reach a deal with moderates that would allow them to move ahead with a vote to pass the resolution, but shortly after midnight members were notified that no further votes were expected in the House for the night. Both moderates and Pelosi sounded optimistic by late morning that such a deal was within reach. "I'm sorry that we couldn't land the plane last night, and that you all had to wait," Pelosi told her caucus on Tuesday morning, according to a Democratic aide in the room. "But that's just part of the legislative progress. I think we're close to landing the plane." Rep. Henry Cuellar, a moderate Democrat from Texas, told CNN on Tuesday that good progress has been made when asked if moderates have reached a deal with leadership. In a clear signal of the high-stakes moment, Biden himself joined members of his senior team in making calls to some of the holdout moderates, according to a White House official. Biden's senior aides and top legislative affairs officials have been in regular touch with the moderate group for several weeks and publicly backed Pelosi's approach, but several House Democrats have quietly voiced desire for Biden himself to weigh in, something Biden did with some members Monday. The optimistic tone Tuesday morning stood in stark contrast to the heated division on display Monday evening, when tension in the Democratic caucus came to a boiling point in a heated, expletive-laden meeting. Multiple sources confirmed that lawmakers grew visibly angry when Pelosi emphasized lawmakers shouldn't squander the opportunity to pass these bills with their majority in the House. "You all have to vote for the goddamn rule," House Rules Chair Jim McGovern, a Massachusetts Democrat, also said to cheers in the room, according to a source familiar. Moderates who are refusing to vote on the rule were not present in the room when McGovern made his comments, which Politico first reported. The demand from moderates comes as Pelosi has made clear for months that the House won't take up the bipartisan bill until the Senate passes the larger and more sweeping package through budget reconciliation. Progressives have said they won't support the infrastructure bill on its own without the larger economic package that would expand the social safety net. Trying to find common ground, Democratic leadership attempted to put forward a vote that would pass the budget resolution using a special procedural move instead of requiring it to have its own vote. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more news updates. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel.